Hey everybody, this is Scott DeCamp with CatchMark Sports. We're actually on the set of our West Michigan 1st and 10, but we do have a special guest who will also be on our show tonight. But I wanted to sit down with Mike Meekhof of M7 Sports. How you doing tonight, Mike?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is a long time coming. We've been talking about for a long time. I need to do something on you. I need to talk to you, do an interview, and it's fine. The time's finally here. So I'm glad we can make this happen.
Yeah, I am too, and I just wanted to thank you for everything you've done for me over the years. Basically since I started M7 Sports, I think you've really taken me under your wing and showed me a lot of what to do. And I tell people 90% of what I've learned in the journalism field is because of you. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Well, first off, thank you. Secondly, maybe that's where you've gone wrong in the first place. I'm surprised you even you're keeping the company afloat if you're looking at my example, but I appreciate that. But let's start. This is about you. Let's talk about you. And so, where did this all start? Like, what was it that lit this fire in you that said, I want to do this?
So really, it was my 7th grade year. I kind of thought about it, doing something in sports journalism, and I even just did a little bit of a talk show on YouTube where I'd just literally sit in my office and talk about random NFL or NBA games. And then it's when I started to get in high school, I noticed a lot of my friends really weren't getting some coverage that I felt like they deserved. And so at first it was about first I had to find the courage to get it started. And when I did that, my 9th grade year, I really wanted to promote some of my friends that weren't getting some coverage from some of the big time outlets. And then as it went on, it just became about covering everybody, and it actually turned that way really quickly. And I developed relationships with a ton of great people, a ton of great coaches, and a ton of great players. And I feel like my brand has done a lot to promote athletes in the Muskegon area at every school. And I've always said it's important to be fair, it's important to be honest, and it's important to be to try to help everybody out as much as you can. Of course, you can't make everybody happy, but I always try to do the best I can with it.
One thing you should feel really good about is I've heard coaches that you cover regularly say that how much you care, but also how professional you are, which when you do your job with integrity, there's nothing better than anyone could ask for. And I think that just shows that you're legit, like a legit entity. You're not just some high school kid that's out there, just trying to get a sideline pass or just trying to maybe be in the public eye. I mean, you're really trying to do a job. And what are your future plans? Like, where do you plan on taking this experience in this company, from this point on?
So, I definitely want to do this for my career. I know that 100% now, and the last few years have showed me that this is the best job in the world to have. And I plan to go to college somewhere out of the state, preferably to a big city, college near a big city, and get a 4-year degree in sports communications or sports journalism, and really use that to push my career forward. I feel like I've got a lot more resume experience right now than a lot of people at my age, but I still feel like there's some work to do, and there's some things that you need to be able to really move forward in this profession. And like you said, and I've always put a huge emphasis on being fair to everybody. I go to Mona Shores, and I won't wear any Mona Shores clothes anywhere. Even when I'm covering a Mona Shores game, I don't cheer for them, or even at this point, I don't even privately really hope they win. I mean, I have friends that play, and I want them to do well, but really, I just want to see both schools compete, and I really want to help promote some of those athletes that come through this area. And I'm hoping I can do that wherever I go and continue to be fair. And I think that's the number one thing that I've always said is, if people can criticize me all I want about whether I'm goofy or nerdy or anything like that, but one thing I never want people to ever be able to say about me is that I wasn't fair to them and I didn't treat them with respect. I always put a huge emphasis on that.
Yeah, I don't think they can say that about you. And just being in this profession as long as I have, it kind of, in some ways, I don't want people to take this the wrong way, but it kind of beats it out of you. It beats the fandom out of you in some ways. And I know that might sound weird, but when I go to a game, I don't have a rooting interest or anything like that. You're just trying to do the best job you can and trying to be a journalist, and you're trying to be right down the middle. And I know, you know, yeah, you want to see people that you know, you want to see them have success. Just kind of like you said, you want to see the people you know be successful. But in terms of going to a game, who do you want to win? I don't care really who wins. I just want it to be a good game, and even if it's not a good game, I just want to tell the story the best way I can.
Yeah, and I look back to even when I first started, and there's some certain things that I'm like, I can't believe I said that when I owned, when I was a journalist, and I would never say that now. And I feel like I've learned and grown from life experiences as my time's gone on. But yeah, I will say that's kind of beating it out of you, because I will say at first there were certain teams that I'd root for that, just because I knew people playing, and I kind of pretended like I was in the middle. But really quickly for me, honestly, within probably the first couple months, that kind of just went away for me. And when you start to be around some of those programs and seeing how they work just the same as the way you've been used to and seeing, you really want to see everybody do well, and you want to see anybody that puts in that much time to work on their craft, in any sport, be able to succeed on the field, on the court, whatever.
Now, you were 15 years old when you started
15,
this?
yep.
15 years
Freshman
old.
in high school.
You're 18 now.
Yep.
It's funny because I'm really dating myself here. I've called you the Doogie Howser of sports journalism, which you might not even know who Doogie Howser is. Do you?
No, I don't, honestly.
See, there you go. I'm not speaking to the right demographic here. It's an old, 80s show? 70s? 80s, I think?
I feel like I've heard the name, but I have no idea.
He's like a kid doctor,
is,
basically, and he's, well beyond, I think our producer, Billy, probably knows what Doogie Howser is. Maybe some older people know. But anyhow, you've just been a kind of ahead of your time. And I can't imagine doing the things in high school that you're doing now as a high schooler. And what are some of the greater moments that you've had in this pursuit? I mean, I think you had one recently, right, where you're down in Columbus?
Yeah, that was definitely one of the best moments for me. I got to cover Cameron Martinez in high school at Muskegon in 2019, and that was really just a fun team to watch. That still ranks among the top teams I've ever covered as far as just how much talent they had on both sides of the ball, up front with the skills, whatever way you want to look at it. And ultimately they came up short, but every game I covered for them, that was really exciting. And there were guys on that team that you could tell really cared and really put in the time, just like I said before. And I really loved seeing them succeed and go forward in the playoffs. But back to Columbus. So I wanted to do a story on Cam since he went to Ohio State. And so I went to the Ohio State-Tulsa game. And actually I applied for that pass thinking, it'd be the easiest to get in. And I wasn't sure how much Cam was going to play. I just wanted to do something on him for getting that far. And then at the game, he played almost the entire time. He had a couple tackles, a pass deflection. And then actually I was in the press box for most of the game, and with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they let the reporters go down on the field. And in that time frame, he happened to get that pick six, and I happened to be literally right on the sideline for that. I don't know if you guys want to go back and watch that video, but I was literally right in that corner of the end zone he scored at. So that was definitely one of my best moments. I've had some other cool things I've got to do as well. Like I got to cover Justin Fields' camp. Willie Snead's youth camp at Muskegon Heights was really cool just to see him give back to the community. Getting to cover some of those state championship teams, and even teams that are surprising. Like the state championship teams that I've covered were Mona Shores in 2019 and 20, Montague in 2020. Muskegon was runners-up in 19. And then some of those surprising teams that I really liked following, just because when you win in the season, they weren't expected to do very well, and then they ended up making a run, like Grand Haven in 2019, Orchard View in 2019, Hesperia last year. So those type of stories I always get interested in, and even Muskegon Heights this year, just teams that nobody thought about, nobody really looked at as somebody that can contend, and they just went on the field and did it.
Yeah, one of the things I want to point out too about the fact that you were able to capture the Cameron Martinez stuff a couple weeks ago was, the expression, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah.
But I think you're both. I mean, I think you create your own luck.
That.
I think that you create your own luck in the way of you know how to anticipate, you know where to be and what spot. You can kind of just get a feeling or anticipation of a big moment. Sometimes there is luck that plays into it, but I think with you, it's being lucky but being good, and I think it's both. And I think it's more so being good, and maybe some things bounce your way. But we'll wrap it up here on that. But just what are the things that anything else that, and any closing thoughts that you might have about the ride it's been? Starting your own business at such a young age, having such a success, see it grow, and then what's next for you and what's down the road for you?
So I'll go back to when I started. When I started this, I really didn't know how long this was going to last. I didn't know how long I was that people would be interested in this. I just kind of did it for fun. And I still played football at Mona Shores at the time when I first started it. And just the support from the community has been overwhelming, and that really is what pushed me to keep it going and then helped me find a love for sports journalism. I really appreciate the community, and and celebrities say it all the time. I couldn't do it without the fans, and you think it's all BS, but then you think about it, and you really can't, because if you had no support, there's no reason to do it. And so that's really what's pushed me forward, just the support from the Muskegon community and getting to build all those relationships over the years with pretty much every coach and a ton of great players in our area. And it's one thing that I'm going to definitely miss the most when I go off to school next year.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for joining us. This is Mike Meekhof from M7 Sports. Appreciate you being on. Thank you very much, and best wishes to you. And I look forward to continue that relationship, and I can't wait to see you grow, because I know you're going to do big things. But I'm Scott DeCamp with CatchMark Sports. Check us out at CatchMarkSports.com. We'll have plenty of coverage on Mr. Meekhof here, as well as the Mona Shores Muskegon game and all the other Muskegon area games happening this week and the rest of the season. Thanks a lot.